your business is going good, you're growing,
Yeah.
you're selling more, and then when do you hit the second recession?
So here I'm in business now, it's third year, and everything stops. They don't need you in a recession. Well,
Wow.
one of the first lessons I learned on that one is let people go and let them go find a job where you can stay in business.
I see similar things coming down the line when it comes to the recession side of things.
You have no control over it. Are you prepared for that? Key to successful business is hiring the best people.
Once you get into business, you get down a certain layer, it's welcome to the game because this is where it begins. Well, how do I go about finding the right people?
You're a 10, you started your company, you need to hire 10. You need to hire somebody to take your place. You're weakening your company if you don't hire the 9s and 10s. Get good advice. You get somebody that knows what you're doing. See, and I went through that and made my mistakes.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do it. And all that business stuff, see, it's not landscaping, it's just business stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. Find out.
If you try to hand that stuff off to somebody else, nobody's going to run your business as well as you are. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Green Dream right here on Turfs Up Radio. I have a special guest for you today, John Ross. How you doing today?
Good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so your company is John R. Ross Inc.
Company
Inc.
Company Inc., yes.
All right.
It was.
So
I'm retired.
You're, I think, one of the first people that have been on the show that have successfully exited their business after a long time of being in the industry. So before we get to that, we're going to touch on that in a little while. I want to talk about where it all began. You've been in the industry for a long time. And so let's just give everybody a quick rundown of how you got into the industry. Your family's from the industry. So where did it all begin?
Well, I'll say third grade. That's when I started watering the buckets. Of course, you didn't have irrigation in those days. This in the 50s. And that was my job after school, to water half the nursery one day and the other half the next day. It was in South Arkansas. My family had a retail garden center, nursery. And I grew up in it. My family started off as a mail order deal. They got some trees in and people wanted more, and it mushroomed from there as far as the nursery went. And so I did that by my last year, senior year, or before then, no, about 15, before I ever drive a license.
Wow.
I was still taking crews. Of course, it's a small town, but I'm taking crews to landscape people's yards, and I was a crew leader, so I've been around it a long time.
Crew leader at 15 years old.
So I've been around it long, And then let's see, when I got out of high school, I could go to A&M and take horticulture, as my thoughts, or LSU. My brother was a landscape architect ahead of me 8 years.
Okay.
That helped start that program down there. And so I said, I'm in the landscape. He worked for Safeway. I need to know what landscape architecture is about. So anyhow, I go. And long story short, I graduated in 71 from LSU in landscape architecture. First job is in Memphis, Tennessee, working for a landscape contractor. And he did residential as well as commercial. And he even got into side work doing highway stabilization. They got the approval of the first hydro seeding machine in the state of Tennessee.
Really?
He got that approved, and I was doing that. And we had also guys out in the field by farmers' land and was cutting sod, and had 10 guys cutting sod and other 10 laying it, down every place we needed to do it. And on the highways and stuff. So did that, and then I got connected with a company. It was architects, civil engineers, and city planners in Memphis there, and they needed a landscape architect. So I joined them, and I worked for about 4.5 years there with them. I'll continue, I guess, into what happened. Some of y'all older ones will know about the oil embargo of 73, 74. Well, everything shut down. And we were building our design firm up. We were doing great, working about a 5-state area. And then the economy, everything shut down with that oil embargo. That, out of 38 people, I was third last to leave and ended up coming to Memphis to a connection of my brother, let's say. Okay, He knew a contractor in Dallas. It Maintain Inc. and LDC. But some people may know them. They're nationally known. They got me involved in knowing about ALCA at the time, and then TALC, the state organization. Shortly after about 6 months, let's say, working with them, I ended up getting off in my own business. And in those days, the maintenance was really just apartment complexes with those red tip Fotini and Aliagna, cheap stuff. And you got to cut it all the time, you know.
What year was this?
Okay, that's 76.
Okay.
May 3rd, 76, actually, when I stepped off and went in my business. Okay, out of necessity, because I wasn't. They had put me from a management job after I accepted it to a sales situation. Anyhow, long story short, I couldn't make a sale. That's just the way it was at the time, you know. But I ended up making a bit larger sale they ever made, and I ended up stepping off in my own business, you know.
So you handed them off you took the largest sale with you, or you handed it off to them?
No, I sold it to the company.
Okay, so you handed that off to them. They're good.
I bid separate and got separate agreement with it was actually apartment complexes in those days.
Okay.
And I started out with 2, and I cleaned up their apartments one weekend, me and some guys. And then he did such a good job, I give you another one. Well, I did 2, and he said, I'm going to give you 3 more. And I said, oh, now I got to make them shut up or put up. You know, so I started I stepped off and bought equipment and started my business.
Rest is history.
And rest is history. That's 47 years after that.
At that point, you've already been through one recession, kind of.
Yes. Yep.
And so you've seen a little bit of what's happened with that.
Right.
You're now into your own business.
Right.
Does it take off quickly? Obviously, you figured out the sales piece. Do you think the sales piece?
I had to sue the first client.
So do you think the sales problem that you had with the national company, was that a sales problem just because you were new to Dallas, you didn't know people? It just was a timing thing. You didn't have enough time to really get everything up and going. You made the biggest sale, so you did actually close that one. But
that was for the company I was working for.
Sure.
Yeah,
but from a sales perspective, do you think that was just a timing thing, or did you have to go in and learn more about sales?
I had to learn the industry. I was new to the city. We had old maps code. I couldn't even, besides the main expressway, to learn how to get around Dallas, you know, before work.
And is that a paper map, or what is that?
Oh, the paper. Oh, that's funny. You do not know. It was a big old spiral about an inch thick, you know, and it was top and bottom, you know, go to page so-and-so for the next section so we could see the streets.
I don't even know what that life is.
Maps go.
See, when I remember maps, I remember the first thing I think about when I think about maps is when my mom got a car, a minivan that had a GPS. That it was one of the first models of the GPSs that got put into a car. And man, I don't know what life was like before that. You know, I wasn't paying attention or whatever. I was paying attention when she got that minivan. So I don't know what life is like with a map.
And we had a fold out too. You had fold outs, you know.
Oh,
Dallas had one and Fort Worth had one. So, you know, you find the address sooner or later. But,
so what happens? You would pull out the Dallas map, and then if you had to go to Fort Worth, you'd have to match it up with the Fort Worth map?
Yeah, they had 2 different sections, 2 different books. I think if that's right. Yeah.
So you'd have to find where you were in Dallas. You'd have to go down and find that same street from Fort Worth to be able to cross the line.
It wasn't hard, but you did it before you started driving, you know. So
man, different life.
Oh yeah. So we did let's see, you were talking about what happened.
Yeah, so sales. So sales. It was one of those things you had to learn, you know, it was just a situation where you didn't know the territory, you were new here, you didn't have any connections yet, and so it wasn't necessarily that you had a sales problem that you needed to learn more about, or correct me if I'm wrong, if it was.
The first group, like I was talking about, another salesman in the same company had given them a proposal, and they thought it was too high, and they rejected their bid. He told me about it, so I went over there, and I did those cleanups, and they said, okay, we'll hire you, you know? And so that's how I got started. But immediately, I was out looking. I'd go into other apartments and trying to make sales. And luckily, I found one down in part of Dallas that had, I think it was an 800-unit complex. Man, that was a big job, you know. So that was a big one. and I got others. Okay.
And that was just door knocking or what? You would roll into the complex and try to figure out who to talk to?
Yeah, just walking in. That's what we did in those days. You know, we didn't have all the social media stuff the way up now. So you had to do that. And if you connected with the manager, you know, okay, and your price was right, they gave you the job. There wasn't any commercial. Most of all the high-rise buildings had nothing but concrete up next to them. They may have had a few circles of tree in it, and that was the landscape. They didn't have any landscape ordinances in those days. Wow. None whatsoever. See, that came way later, okay? So, again, if you're in the maintenance business, landscape, you're dealing with apartments.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
Yeah.
Okay? And Ellie Agnes and Redleaf Fotina, you know, you had a whack back every week or something, you know, almost. It was crazy, you know, cheap plants, cheap construction. So,
yeah.
You know, that's how it got started. And things grew, and the business, I hired some good people, and we just grew over a period of time. And then I had the bumps in the road, go up and down, you know, through personnel that you hire.
Yeah.
Okay. And we kind of were talking about it earlier, law of diminishing returns. You want to get into that now? Or,
yeah, so talk to me. We'll get into that here in just a second. Yeah, okay. So talk to me about then your business is going good. You're growing. Yeah. You're selling more. And then when do you hit the second recession?
And I started in, like I said, in, 76, 79, I think it's 79. That fall, up until that point, there was I can stand corrected, but it's something like this. You couldn't charge over 10% interest on loans. The state of Texas took it off and made it 12. But at the end of the year, federal took it all off, and immediately interest rates went up to 21%. So here I'm in business, now it's third year, and everything stops, you know? And I had 50% design build, you know, installation, new work, and I had maintenance on the side. There's not any work. They don't need you in a recession, okay? And
on the construction side, they don't need you. On the construction. So what happened on the maintenance side?
Maintenance still going on. See, people have to maintain their assets. Yeah. You can reduce mowing, you can do things to cut back to help them, but they still have to maintain that building, you know, the landscape. Right. Otherwise, they're going to lose all those thousands of dollars.
Grass still grows. You can't have it be a foot tall.
That's it.
Yeah. Okay. But the construction side just dries up.
None.
Overnight?
And I took foreman and said, hey, y'all help go sell. They went out and sell. They couldn't find anything. Yeah. We had one pretty good sized large church job that we did during that winter. Okay. But after that, there was nothing.
Was it a situation, did you see it coming?
No, I didn't know it. I did not know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, I'm more from the plan and design build background.
Yeah, sure.
And in landscape architecture, they didn't tell you what's going to happen in recession. They didn't tell you they didn't need you.
That wasn't in school.
Yeah. They didn't teach you that. Yeah. Okay. They don't need, if there's nothing going on, design or construction, because there's not any new building going on.
Yeah.
They don't need designers. They don't need contractors of any kind.
Yeah.
So everything goes down.
Yeah.
And if you get caught, and I did on that one job too there, landscaping is the last job that goes in.
Yeah.
You got owners mad at the architects and the contractors are fighting, and they're holding their 20% back. You're on the end, and everybody's, you know, mad at you and want you to get off the job. And they're holding your money.
Yeah.
All your profit.
Yeah.
You know, and you go, oh.
You're the rock in the hard place.
So during that recession, in that 79 and 80, 1980, is when I said, okay, I'm going service business versus installation. Okay? I had already took money and tried to keep these people over the winter until fall, summer, paying them out of the cash flow of the maintenance to the point that I was struggling here, you know, and I'm back on taxes and everything else, you know, and I had to let them go. Well, one of the first lessons I learned on that one is let people go and let them go find a job where you can stay in business, period.
Or you lose everybody.
Yeah. You can lose yourself and everybody else. See, it was hard, and I had a little help getting out of it, but, you know, I did, and I stayed in the service business primarily after that.
So my big question here, and then we got to go to a quick break, is when it wasn't one of those situations where you were like, oh man, I need to start looking out. I don't, maybe the economy is going to go down or something like that. When they uncapped interest rates, was it just literally like business is great today? Next week, it was like everybody's saying, hey, we don't need you to come anymore. Was it that fast or was it over a few months?
It was
instant.
When they took it all off, all the big developers building buildings, skyscrapers and all kinds of development, their construction money, they started calling it in. They wanted to raise the interest rate. Wow. Everybody went bankrupt.
Wow.
Okay. A lot of companies fell out, and that's what happens.
Wow.
Okay. It just trickles down.
Sure.
And the landscape people are on the end.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens.
Yeah, because that's the biggest thing. I mean, right now we're coming out of what I call the gold rush of the green industry.
Right.
COVID was a gold rush.
Right.
If you had a truck and a shovel and you could show up, you were in the landscape business, and you could handle whatever type of projects people could throw at you, because it was purely I have this project. I can't find someone to get it done. Can you come get it done? And now we're on the backside, and I've been talking about this for the last 6 months, is that, I see similar things coming down the line when it comes to the recession side of things. I've already have clients already today. I have prospects today that are telling me, Luke, we don't have projects coming in like we did a year ago, let alone 2 years ago.
Right.
But it's 50% harder to win a job today than it was this same time last year in a lot of places in the country. There's places still like Dallas here. There's some other places in the country that are still hot.
Right.
We have a little bit of a bubble, but in most places in the U.S., people are feeling the slowdown already. And I think it's only going to get worse as this year goes on.
Oh, yeah.
And so I appreciate you being here and kind of sharing the knowledge of 5 recessions, because you can tell people, hey, this is what you need to look out for. It's not always sunshine and roses like it's been the last 5 years. It's been a really great 5-year run. So don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be right back. We appreciate all of our awesome sponsors of the show. So we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to The Green Dream. I have John Ross. We were just talking about the second recession that he went through and some of the things you need to watch out for if you're building a landscape company right now, because we are on the edge of a recession. If we're in one right now, if we're on the edge of one, we don't ever know. But there's definitely things that are happening right now in the economy that make me think that we are going in that direction. And so second recession hits. You were telling me before, correct me if I'm wrong, you had to restructure the company.
Yes.
Because you then you had, I'm sure, a lot of equipment on the design build side. That's a lot more expensive. Skid steers,
big trucks.
dump
I had to
trucks.
get rid of the big trucks. Didn't need them.
All kinds of debt to build that business that you're just no longer using. So you have to now restructure debt. I'm sure you have to mass sell a lot of this stuff that everybody else is selling. So equipment's not worth the same price.
You can control how much material you buy, number of employees, things that's under your control. But in businesses, things outside, like the economy, if that's what we're talking about, you have no control over. Are you prepared for that? Do you have a plan for that? My suggestion is you make a plan. And if you don't know how to do it, you need to get some consultants in, which I did over the period from the National Association of Landscape Contractors, to help me through a lot of this. Okay, you got to get some help. You're probably trained, you're the great landscaper, you know how to do it, but oh my God, what about personnel, business management, finance, all that kind of thing? Don't try to do it on your own. Get some people that know what they're doing to come in and help you. It's worth the money and weight. The money you're paying for them to get things to learn stuff. Do everything you can do to go out and get education. I went to a 4-week class in American Management Association. That has nothing to do with landscape. But I'm sitting in a class with a guy trying to be from Canada, getting ready to be nominated for the president of DuPont Canada.
Wow.
He's in my class. Wow. Just like all these other names like that. We had these workshops. And I did a 4-week class with them. Okay, and I learned a lot on that. Yeah, I'm a landscaper. They looking at me. Yeah, a little company in Dallas.
What company? What was the education? What was that class?
Well, American Management Association. It was talking about financial management and planning. They did everything, but hey, we're going to expand. We need so many $1 million worth of stuff. Okay, we need to hire 5 salesmen. They can do so much. Oh, now we got to we got to have a distribution center over here. That's going to cost so much. They do all these different scenarios that any size company's got to do. It's just like you are starting out. Do you get 1 crew, 2 crews, 3, 5? Can you manage 5 crews yourself? No, you got to get some managers under you. You see, and it just keeps snowballing on you.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the idea is to get some help and learn and keep learning.
And look, and to your point, look outside of the industry. You don't have to just look within the industry to find the knowledge. And sometimes some of the better knowledge you're going to find may come from outside the industry.
That's right.
And so you would say that some of the associations were a big help for you as well.
I wouldn't be in business without them.
Wow.
And in Texas, we had the Texas Association of Landscape Contractors at the time. It's joined now with the nursery group, but we had a local chapter, and then we had the state. And I was involved in all that, officers and all that kind of thing throughout. And then on a national basis, it was a
NALP, I think.
Okay. So, and they had a number of things. They had an annual thing you go to. They had workshops for going to different colleges that moved around the country to hire employees, people coming out studying horticulture and landscape construction, and you can go and get their names and, hire good people. That's number one. You can't do it yourself, and I'll get into that. Can I get into that?
Yeah, let's go for it. Go for it.
The law, what I call it, the law of attrition, I think it is.
Yeah, the law of attrition, you're saying.
Okay. Yep. What that says is you're a 10, you started your company, you need to hire 10. You need to hire somebody to take your place. That person needs to hire somebody that can take their place. If you hire a 9, the 9's going to hire 8, go on down, 7, 5, okay? You're weakening your company if you don't continue to hire, and you want to grow, you got to continue to hire the 9s and 10s. Do not get in a hurry and hire the 7s and the 6s and stuff. They will hurt you bad. Okay.
Talk about that. How, just so that if somebody's listening to this or watching this right now, and they're going through the hiring process for the first time,
right,
and they don't know, why does that matter? Why does it matter to hire somebody at the same level or higher versus potentially making a rash decision of hiring somebody below that?
Your quality is going to go down. Those people is lower deal. And I'm not, this is just people, guys. It's not, and I'm talking about men and women. It don't make any difference, race, creed, anything. Just hire the best people you can get is all I'm saying. I don't want to go into too much detail on that. The main thing is that if you just keep that in mind, can that person take my place? You know what you do every day. You know the business part, the sales part, the sales management part when you're dealing with the clients. Can that person that you hire deal with the same client that you've been dealing with and be happy? Are you sure that you can trust them to go out there without you there, and they represent you and your company and what you stand for, and they do the job? You see, if you hire the other ones, hey, they're not as dedicated. Maybe they got family issues or health issues. You don't know what the deal is, but they're not as go-getters as you are. When you start hiring them down the line, that's when your problems. And I went through all that. I went through that, okay? And I'm telling you, it got one particular period of time back in, 74, 75, I lost half my business.
Wow.
To people like that.
Wow.
Okay? The second year, I call it the second covey of buzzards. Tried to do the same thing.
Wow.
But they were stupid enough to leave stuff out where I could see it. I'm sorry, but that's just what happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay? And that happens every day.
And the problem is that nobody teaches you this stuff.
No, and when you're growing, stuff gets covered up.
Yeah.
Oh, man, everything is covered up. Okay. And so my suggestion, again, hire the best people. Other thing is check and balances. Do you have check and balances? One of the biggest failure I had is not having employment agreements, or non-compete agreements. You see, that's what happened to me when I just, of the example. Okay, and it's happened before, since then, but I finally started doing the employee agreement. Some states hold up, some don't. You need to have an attorney, again, an expert, advise you along the way. I've had good attorneys too, and a good accountant. That's another thing. Do you have a good CPA? If you're doing QuickBooks, I don't care what you're doing it with. Okay, we started out with paper. Okay, paper ledgers and everything. Get good advice. Don't, your neighbor may know some things, but you get your own and find out your own CPA or somebody that knows what you're doing.
So don't hire your aunt that did books for so and so, whatever.
Exactly. Come on, guys.
You want to find the legit person.
Exactly.
That has the education, knowledge, and experience.
The key to successful business is hiring the best people. If you want to succeed, you can hire all the fancy equipment, everything else, fastest, best thing to do. But if you ain't got the right people, c'est la vie. It's over. You're going to have a big bump, and it's going to come as a shock to you because you go, oh my gosh, I did everything for these people.
Oh God, say it again for the people in the back.
Oh, hey, look, I've
been there too. You pour so much into them. You think, oh, I've given you so much. Look at how I brought you along the way. And then next thing you know, they just gone. Turn their back to you. They don't care. It's all whatever.
Yeah. You got to keep up with it.
Yep.
They'd be great for 10 years.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, whatever reason, they get crossed with somebody, one of your managers or something like that, and they turn on you. I had a foreman work for me, 20-something years, 2 sons, about 15 years apiece, all 3 of them foremen. Come to find out, through all some different, they didn't like the manager that I had hired, okay? And that's another story, another one, bad manager I hired. I was telling you, about that earlier. So I know things I should have done, This is one of the should have done.
Yeah.
I even helped his wife died of diabetes, I think, and I even helped him ship the body back to Mexico. You help them, and then they turn on you, and they're stealing from you. They're taking a cruise and doing jobs, their homeowner jobs, on your time and money and materials. Taking out, you're planting thousands of annuals, and let's say you got, I don't know, so many 20 flats out here, and they'll tell the crew, put at least 3-4 flats on the truck. We're going to spread these others out, and we're going to put these on their job somewhere. I had that kind of thing going on.
Wow.
So there's checks and balances all through. You've got to check it, and you got to never stop checking.
It's the management piece.
It's management.
It's the management of people really becomes the game. I like to say, once you get into business and you get down a certain layer, it's welcome to the game because this is where it begins. Yeah. You haven't, sometimes when it's just you and a guy, you're not even in it yet. No. It's when you have 1 or 2 crews, 3, 4, 5 crews going down the line. That's the beginning.
Oh yeah.
That's when it really starts.
And there's levels. Yeah. Okay. You can get up to so much, I don't know, $1 million, wherever it is, 500,000, million, maybe 2 million, 3 million, and you got different levels as you go up.
Yeah.
This is where your management consultants come in and should help you. And then your continued education will help you do the growth.
Yeah.
But again, it goes back to the hiring the right people that are willing to do the growth. I had a manager at one time, worked for me for 20-something years, and I was wanting to sell a business. He didn't want to work for the big company, so he had me. I couldn't sell it.
Wow.
Wow. Business was rolling good.
Yeah.
So and a lot of other things too. My wife passed away and all that, but anyhow.
So
things happen in life.
Yeah, things do happen in life, and the problem is that you can't predict any of those things, and so much of business is a roller coaster of when you're the entrepreneur, especially. The highs are really high and the lows are really low.
Right.
And for me at least, the lows, it's not just one thing that happens. It's a mess of a lot of things that happen all at the same time.
Right.
And you've got to figure out the chaos, and you've got to be okay with the uncertainty and figuring all of that stuff out to really help you get to the next level. And one thing though that I can hear somebody saying in the back of their mind right now as they're listening to this is, John, okay, I hear you. You say hire great people. That makes sense. That's great. Cool. But how do I hire the right people? How do I go about finding the right people and to find those 10s versus 7s? Because there's a lot of 7s and 5s and 3s in the market.
Right. I would start out, you can do junior college, you can go to regular colleges. In our industry, horticulture, landscape architecture, the plant sciences, soil sciences. My best success has been with people that used to live in the country. They know how to work. This is the dirt business. You're working with dirt, guys. Come on. And in Texas, we tell these Aggies, green side up, okay, when they're laying sod, kind of thing like that. But you want somebody that's willing to get out there. They don't mind sweating. I mean, this is a labor job.
Yeah.
Everything we do is labor. Yeah. We got equipment to help us, but it's labor. You want somebody, I'm going to call them city slickers that never got out there with a shovel. They never helped their parents outside. How'd they get in this business? I've seen so much, especially in the maintenance business, because that's where my key interests have been, but it's in the installation too. People get in the business that don't know what they're doing. In Texas, some of these people are still chopping the top off a crepe myrtle. Harry Garrett called it crepe myrtle.
Yeah.
Crepe murder.
Yeah.
And that's what we call it, crepe murder. Why are you cutting the top of a tree out? That's basic, Jeez. I saw something the other day. A lady asked on one of the lines about, it was ground cover. It looked like somebody mowed it just perfectly. I mean, it was good looking. It was in her front yard, okay? She didn't know what kind of plant it was. I said, oh my God. I told her do not touch it until February, okay? Cut it back 2 inches from the ground and don't touch it after that. You cut the winter damage off, and that's it.
Yep.
She didn't know her plant material, okay? And I see so many commercial jobs. They don't know how to trim plants. They like the reverse pyramid because that hedger, it works weird angle.
Yeah.
It need to cut what we did, cut a 45 off that, is what we called it, rounded it off where the sun could get to the bottom of the plant and grow some bushes and it fill in. Some people don't know some of the basics, planting plants. You don't believe how many contractors don't know how to water the tree when they put it in the ground. They got the employees stomping on it, they're staking it, and they're stomping on the top, creating a hard pack. The water can't even get to the roots. Never put your foot on top of a ball, or the dirt around it. You put the water hose all the way down the bottom. I call it mudding it out. And it'll sink, and you add a little bit more dirt, and it's fine. That way the root hairs don't dry out in the dead tree. If you're in installation, when you get a tree off the truck, does it wiggle, from the ball? Reject it. Hey, I got you guys do the plants on the truck, and then, they already screwed it up. It's going to die anyhow. Yeah. I'm not going to take it on the job and let it die. That makes me look bad.
Well, and it's on your pocket. Most nurseries, once it gets put in the ground, it's on your dime. It's not on them. So,
yeah.
So if you know something before it goes in the ground, it's going to be a problem. There's your profit margin.
Basic stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? Just basic horticulture stuff. A lot of that I learned from my parents and my daddy.
Yeah.
But I see so many mistakes that's happening out. And, how much are you losing when you warranty a job for a year? How much what's the cost of replacement that you have to do? Is it 2%, 5%, something acceptable? Or is it 10%, 20%? That means your crews are not trained.
Yeah.
You're not doing your job.
Yeah.
You know, have you trained your crew? Do they know to handle every plant like a baby? You know, every plant. That ball is so important. Otherwise, you break that roots, it's gone.
Yeah.
And I've seen, they're staking some trees around here. I've seen new landscape with no stakes on them at all. And they got a tall, skinny tree that's going to go whoop, just like that. In the first 70-mile downdraft we got.
Yeah, and then they're just going to shove it back. They'll just shove it back forward.
Yeah, look around. You see it right now in Dallas, all over Dallas. You go, you don't know how to stake them?
What's happening right now?
A tree? I mean, some things are so basic.
Yeah.
You know, but anyhow, just.
So we were talking about before during lunch, and I remember you telling me one of your secret weapons was Tarleton University.
State College, yeah.
Because a lot of the people that come out of that college are farmers.
Agriculture, they raised around. They've done cattle, you know, they painted fences, they
understand the ecosystem and the living aspect
That's right.
of plants and animals and all of that kind of stuff. So they care for things better than, you know, somebody that maybe.
Yeah, and they know how to work.
Yeah.
They've sweated. They know how to work. Okay? And they got an interest in it. That's why they went to school in horticulture or, you know, agriculture of some kind, you know, animal husbandry or whatever. They know what it means to work.
Yeah.
And in this industry, I think that's very important, you know.
You know, another thing I think that's really interesting is the point that you made about, you know, looking down the road about your growth and strategically planning out the hiring that you need to do.
Yeah.
So many people I see, they just wake up one day and they're like, oh man, we need more people. We just landed this contract or whatever. Well, you knew you were going to be bidding on that project.
Right.
You knew different things down the road. If you actually planned out your year and where you wanted to be at the end of the year, you would know that hopefully by Q2, we've done XYZ sales and we need to start adding this person or that person or wherever to get you there. But so many people are just running around with their head cut off like a chicken and they're just running gun. Let's just make a decision. Oh, yep, they sound good. They showed up for their interview. Let's hire them, put them in the seat. And it really sounds like one of the keys to success for your company was really looking at growth. Where are we going to go? Strategically saying, hey, we're going to need this person down the line, so we need to start looking now so that we're not rushed into making this hire.
See, and I went through that and made my mistakes, okay? We were growing like gangbusters, okay? 80s, late 90s, you know, we were early 90s, we were going crazy. And I had to hire some people.
Yep.
We were even renting trucks. I couldn't get enough trucks.
Wow.
Okay, to go. I was having to hire people. That's those second tier people I'm telling you about.
Yeah.
Just to get the work done. Okay. Unknown to me, though, I had some people that were
bad apples.
Bad apples.
Yeah.
Okay. And they undermined. I'll just quick example is they sold $50,000 worth of annuals I couldn't find. That was at 50 cents a piece.
Oof.
Okay. Come to find out, top manager and sales lady had given the annuals away to these wonderful clients that were giving us all these wonderful jobs.
Holy cow. 50,000 was the cost of the material?
I'm talking 50 cents a piece.
Ooh.
You know? Or less than that.
Jeez.
Okay.
That's a lot of annuals, first of all.
Well, you know, so you can get some control freaks in there.
Yeah.
Okay. They want to protect their job.
Yeah.
So then again, see, they're hiring the people at a lower number.
Yeah.
9, 8, 7. Okay.
Yeah.
They'll go along with them.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you can get hurt like that.
It's really a culture thing of building high class, high valued people and building the culture around success and growth and all of that kind of stuff. That's really a big part of it. And guys, this is why we have people like John on the podcast, is because, you know, you had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
through many of these things. Nobody was there to tell you. You went to college. You have the degree.
Right.
Nobody taught you in college or even after college when starting your business. And these are all lessons and things you've had to learn the hard way through the School of Hard Knocks. So by you listening to this podcast, you have the ability to take this knowledge and implement it today and not have to learn some of these mistakes that could set you back and make you have to go back to square one and restart. Yeah. One of the things that I think is really interesting.
One point.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do it. It takes guts to lay people off. See? And to the economy problems or all the other issues you've got, if you see it, cut it as fast as you can. It's your livelihood.
Yeah.
Cut bait and run. You know what I'm saying? To
your point, sometimes we get caught up in the, you feel bad, and that's fine. It shows you're human, that it's not just a number that, just, cut it. Right. No worries. See you later. It shows the human side, but at the same time, you're risking everybody else when you're not letting that one person go that might be a bad apple or may not be the right fit for your company. Right. You're also doing a disservice to them because it's that much quicker that they could go find the company that they do fit with.
Right. And I know we're talking, I understand we're talking to all different size companies.
Oh, yeah.
I want to tell you, I just want to shout this out to the young companies. You probably don't, quote, have any employees. They're
1099?
Yeah. Okay.
Subcontractors.
Okay.
The IRS has entered the chat.
You're getting cash or something. You don't have insurance, proper insurance. Yeah. You don't have workers' comp. Yeah. You're not legit. And you know it. And I'm saying, okay, you're 1 or 2 years old, and I'm going to tell you, please get legit. Go, get that business management, get that CPA, somebody helping you get legit. And do not ever lose track of you. Don't get behind on IRS. Don't get, your withholding taxes, your sales taxes, and all that business stuff. See, it's not landscaping, it's just business stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to do that. Find out. Whatever, you're running a company that's the same thing at IBM or any of these other, major corporates, Tesla and all the rest of them are doing. They just got more people.
Yeah.
But you got to do it on your own, and you divvy it out as you grow, okay, to take over different jobs. But my point is, get legit, stay legit, don't get behind, cut something, just get back to where you can pay your taxes and all this stuff, Don't play games with yourself. That's Russian roulette, guys.
Running under the radar. When I sold my business, there was definitely things that I could have done to make my business more valuable. Right. Come to find out afterward, and this is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate now about helping people, is that nobody told me the things that I needed to know in that point about these different things. And we're going to talk about the sales piece here in a minute. But my broker eventually told me, because we were doing a lot of cash, just the nature of the business and stuff like that. And my broker told me, he goes, Luke, one of the things, and he said, you're lucky to learn this while you're so young.
That's right.
He goes, one of the things you need to know right now is you either pay now or get paid later.
Right.
Like you have to pay the price right now to get paid later.
Right.
Like if you're gonna fly under the radar, if you're gonna take cash, you're gonna do these different things to not have to do this or not, whatever it may be, you're not gonna be worth as much later.
That's right.
Because the legitimacy is important.
It will catch up with you.
It will 100% catch up to you.
I asked a friend of mine the other day. She's paying $35 or $40 a week or whatever. I said, on the invoice, do they show sales tax? Well, I don't know, but I'm going to check. Okay. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
All it is. On the invoice.
All it is you're one knock away.
And if they show a tax, it collected and not paying it.
Yeah.
That's another story.
Yeah. You made an interesting point, though. And I think this is where a lot of business owners, just in general, this isn't landscape industry specific. This is business owners in general. You made a point that you can't run from it. Right. You're in business.
That's right.
You've signed up for this.
That's right.
Welcome to the game, boys and girls, because you have to learn. It's the buck stops with you. You can't handle, you can't say, hey, I'm really good at X, Y, Z. I'm going to go do that thing and I'm going to hand it off to somebody else. You can for a lot of things. There's a lot of aspects of the business that you need to find out what you're really good at and do that thing and then pay everybody else to do the other stuff. But you have to have a knowledge, a general understanding of business.
Right.
All the things you said, especially on the finance things.
Yep.
Because if you try to hand that stuff off to somebody else, nobody's going to run your business as well as you are.
Right.
So if you're the one who goes, man, I don't know collections. I don't know how to balance a checkbook or what, what's coming in versus what's coming out. Like, how do I manage that stuff? And you just stick your head in the sand.
Right.
It's all you're limiting yourself. And from what I've learned is that at the end of the day, ultimately, you have to have an understanding of something. You don't have to be the one to do it.
Right.
But you have to understand the thing before you hire and send it off to somebody else.
Right.
Because of exactly what you said, the checks and the balances.
Yep.
How are you going to do a check and balance of something if you don't even know how the thing works or the process or what's the theology or the aspect behind the thing you're doing?
Right.
You got to have an understanding of it, which is such an important piece. And that goes for any business across the board.
I may mention something too, especially the new folks, in a business. Hopefully you've worked for somebody else that has a bidding system. If you don't, you got to develop your own. You need to do some time and motion study on every piece of equipment. How long did it take you to do that, so many square feet, and that kind of thing. Build your own. You can take it from other people for a while, but build your own, where you'll know how to actually put a bid together, The other thing is, are you a low baller? You're going to lowball yourself out of business.
Oh, man.
If you're proud and you do the work that you need to be doing, you need to be from, if not the top in there, you need to be the number 2. You never want to be 3 and down, low bidder. Why are you giving your services away for nothing?
Wow.
If you're doing the quality work, if you're not doing the quality work, you got to get out of business, as far as I'm concerned. There's a lot of jake legs in this business, big companies too, that do not know what they're doing in quality control. And they just, because of the sales, they keep turning it over and turning it over and turning it over.
Yep.
And I know we follow many of the big companies, and I'm not going to mention names, but everybody knows who they are. They've gone out there. Here's what, you get too many layers.
Yeah.
Hey, I want a limb cut, let's say over here. The wind blew a limb down. The client calls you and tells you got a limb down. Okay, you take that, you get that off to your regional manager. Regional manager gets it over. Oh, that's a divisional thing, not the tree company section. Oh, I got to give that to over here. And the time it gets around, it's 3 days late. You ain't even tell the client how much it costs and stuff.
Yeah.
Too much layering of things.
No process. Cost you.
No process, And it was easy to go in to those big companies because the quality, everything went down.
Yeah.
You
could just point out the issues.
We had it in here when it all started, and I'm not going to name names, but everybody knows who the company's initial ones trying to buy everybody out. They did. They came in and cut the prices 30%. Wow. Oh, we work over smaller margin, a larger volume, but smaller margin. Yeah, but why in the hell did you cut it 30%? I never could figure that out. That was crazy.
But I don't
literally
know.
Crazy. I know the jobs. I know the numbers.
Yeah. Money out 10%, of your pocket.
Yeah.
Here's $30 out of that 100.
Yeah. It was stupid. So you can outgrow yourself and hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good. The last 2 things that I want to talk about.
Okay.
Because we only have we've already blown through this podcast.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. We've got 10 minutes left here.
All right.
2 things I want to talk about. I want to save the sale for last.
Okay.
But the first one is the segue into that. And it is that I want you to talk about to reframe it in people's mind, the importance of maintenance over construction.
Okay.
And you've been through 5 recessions. We talked about 2 of them. I want you to just give the listener a quick synopsis of why maintenance is important over construction, because there's so many people on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok that are going construction, 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 construction. Forget maintenance, get out of maintenance. Well, you've been in this business for a long time.
I did a study. I actually did a study, okay? And give the example I'll give, let's say a nice job, $1 million installation job, okay? You bid it, you put it in, everything. How much? You probably had to estimate some maintenance along with it, or you probably should know. It's anywhere from 20 to 25 or 30% of that $1 million, $300,000, that you takes to maintain it for a year. What happens in 5 years? $1.5 million, is that right? Real quick, numbers. If you've maintained that job 5 years, you're more than double, and you keep the job. And if you get that job, they're going to give you more jobs through referrals that they've got other buildings or whatever to maintain, okay? The money is in the maintenance, guys, okay, over the long period of time. During a recession, what stops? New construction. They don't need, nobody's going to put a new tree in, but they can't afford to.
Yeah.
Everybody's tightened up. The rent's tight. Overbuilding of office buildings, all that kind of thing, warehousing.
Even residential, the guys that are in the residential stuff, it doesn't matter how much money the client may have. They're going to reconsider spending $100,000 or $50,000 or $20,000 on that backyard project until, hey, everything's overinflated right now. I'm going to wait for prices to come back down. I'm going to get more for my money later.
That's right. Okay. Long term, you're building a long term and you're growing your business. It's in the service, guys. It's just in the service, okay? And you can play around, quote, quote, and you can be the biggest dog and you get the national awards on look at what I designed and what I put in. Isn't that wonderful? But do you want to stay in business? Do you want to do the stuff long term? I'm saying service. That's my opinion. Now, let me tell you this. From the labor to the top of the management structure, that's 2 different sets of people. That's very important. Some people love that day-to-day change, okay? And, hey, I got a new job, I got a new site, I got new materials, I'm putting it in, I can read plans, everything's good. You put that person over here in the maintenance section that's going to do that same job every week over and over and over, 2 sets of personality, guys. You can't switch them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Oh, yeah.
You can't take that maintenance guy and now come over here and do this construction.
Yeah.
You know, you have to somebody have them. In our company, we had a dedicated, there's a foreman that was really good. It could do construction. We kept him constantly busy, okay, doing stuff. You could grow a company like that, but you got to have a balance, and there's different type of personnel. From the management structure down to the guy handling that shovel. 2 different type of people.
It's good. So closing this out, segueing into the sale of the company, your evaluation was based off of the maintenance.
Yes, completely. Service.
They didn't care at all about what your
my equipment.
What your installation.
It was all used anyhow. Yeah, hell, I understand that.
They wanted the accounts. They said
they're buying the goodwill.
Yeah,
they're buying the accounts and hopefully employees. And there'll probably be some attrition of employees, but what's the course?
And there's going to be some attrition of accounts and stuff like that too.
They're going to love your employees too.
Yeah,
you have good management. They're going to keep everybody because they're expanding, and that's what these companies are doing. They're going from city to city, different parts of the country where the growth is.
Yeah,
and they need your business. They'd like to have your business. One of my key figures, sales deals was my location. I was sitting in a part of Dallas that's like a star, can go anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, on the Metroplex. And I have 3 different locations over the course of my business, still in that same star. And the company that bought it was way south. And they got all this work and people want to give it to them, but they couldn't, it take them an hour to get to the job. location. You've heard that. Everybody's heard it. The location, and I had a good long-term lease at a real cheap rate, and they jumped on it, man.
Man, when I went down and saw your facility, what a location it is. For those of you that are around Dallas, he's right next to Love Field. And when I say Love Field, I'm talking, 3 blocks?
2 blocks off.
2 blocks off the fence. Off of the fence of the runway.
Yeah. And then off of 35, right there.
Right off of 35. Half of a mile from 35, if that.
Yeah.
And so location is a big deal, especially when it comes to Dallas, and especially when it comes to commercial maintenance, because when that property manager calls you and says, hey, I have this property here in McKinney, you got to be the guy to go over and take care of that, because you don't want them bringing in another contractor, another company that then goes, hey, Susan, we're killing it over here in McKinney. What other contracts do you have? I'll go to Dallas. And now they're bidding on the properties that you already have.
And let me say one other thing here that helps too. When you get a contract, like management companies or different people or owners, they've got properties already around different places. So if you do a good job on your first one, you're going to get taken over there. Yeah. That's how you spread. Now, get your salespeople to concentrate at that far out job. Start selling jobs in between. Fill that crew up all day. And this is another thing too. On job time. I'm getting more stuff, but
that's good. We got it.
You want your job. The best job is where the crew stays on it all day. Is that 1 man? Possibly. Very efficient. 2 men, you're cutting your efficiency out, but it's still good. You get the 3rd man, you get 5 men. I see people on 5 men on crew. They're bumping into each other, guys. 3-man crew? Good God, don't get in 4 and 3-man crews if you can. Get a whole nother crew to do another section.
Yeah, good.
Or something. Or get 2 big mowers going on that truck.
You know, it's such an important part. I just got done shooting what we call Landscape Titans. It's a documentary series. I don't know if I showed you this or not. No. We just got back 2 weeks ago from Tyler with this is for those of you that listen to the podcast, you know it first. The second, what we call Landscape Titan, their company is called Salcedo Home Solutions. Mm-hmm. And Marvin, the owner, has a segment of the show where he's talking about efficiency and crew sizes. Mm-hmm. And you can tell the people that really know the business by when they start talking about this stuff, because he said the exact same thing you said. Right. The most efficient crew is a 1-man crew. It's really hard to find a 1-man crew because there's, who wants to go out by themselves and do that kind of stuff.
How about your irrigator? 1-man crew go out?
Yeah.
They work lonely by themselves?
Yeah.
Can you depend on that?
Yeah.
Well, they need a helper. They need 2 men.
That's it.
You're going to get 3 and 4 and 5? Jeez. I don't care how big the place is.
What he was basically saying is at 3 or more, it's complete diminishing returns. Yep. There's just really almost
That's that law I'm talking about. I started out with law of diminishing returns. Same thing in crew development. It has to do with everything about how much equipment you buy, what type of equipment. Another thing, buy the same equipment. Don't get mixed up. There's so many lessons to learn in this industry. Again, get involved in your local organizations, okay? Anything to do with business management, hopefully landscape, most of them have them in major cities, but some of the small towns don't have that ability. These guys got to travel a long ways to get to an organization just to get to a meeting.
Yeah.
But if you can't do it, at least get to a national. Go to the national meetings.
Listen to this podcast.
There's this podcast. Do whatever you can do to pick up more information. So
that's so good.
Yeah.
John, we appreciate you. Thank you for being on the show.
I hope I can help somebody.
Come on, let's go. Appreciate all of the knowledge. Congratulations on the sale and the retirement. You're riding off into the sunset now in the RV on the 50-something acres. So come on, let's.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of The Green Dream. As we always say, keep cutting grass, keep planting plants. And as I'm now coining the term, welcome to the game.
There you go. Green side up.
Green side up.